Argentina, the second largest economy in South America, but now it's facing what might be its biggest economic crisis in history. Inflation is out of control, foreign reserves are dwindling, and the people are once again confronted with uncertainty. For a country that has battled economic turbulence throughout its history, why is this crisis so dangerous? How did a nation, often seen as South America's rising star, end up in this situation? That's exactly where we come in to explain it all to you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Argentina's annual inflation rate has surged past 113% as of August, reaching its highest level in recent years. This spike has caused the prices of basic consumer goods to soar, significantly diminishing the purchasing power of the population. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the Argentine government have reached an agreement on a new loan package aimed at managing the country's ongoing economic crisis. The deal includes a $7.5 billion loan to Argentina, intended to bolster foreign currency reserves and improve the country's debt repayment capacity. Now, let us clarify something first. Not everything we'll discuss in this video might turn out to be true, but we guarantee it will definitely capture your interest. So, let's get started with our questions. How will Argentina navigate this crisis? What are the underlying causes behind this economic turmoil? Can Argentina's economic future truly be saved? First, let us show you the Global Remote Index map of 2023, and let us understand why Argentina is here in this ranking. Argentina's path through its current economic crisis is fraught with challenges, but the government is taking several steps in an attempt to stabilize the situation. The crisis, marked by skyrocketing inflation, a plunging currency, and unsustainable debt levels, has forced Argentina to adopt a series of austerity measures. These include significant cuts to public spending, reductions in subsidies, and attempts to renegotiate its debt with international creditors, particularly the International Monetary Fund, IMF. One of the central strategies has been the implementation of austerity measures aimed at reducing the fiscal deficit. The government has slashed public spending across various sectors, including education, healthcare, and social welfare. While these cuts are intended to reduce the deficit, they have also sparked widespread public unrest. Many Argentinians argue that these austerity measures disproportionately affect the most vulnerable segments of society, deepening poverty and exacerbating social tensions. In addition to austerity, Argentina has sought to stabilize its economy through external support, most notably from the IMF. In 2018, Argentina secured a record $57 billion loan from the IMF, intended to shore up its foreign reserves and restore investor confidence. However, this loan came with strict conditions requiring the government to implement even more severe austerity measures. The IMF's involvement has been a double-edged sword. While the funds provided temporary relief, the conditions attached have fueled further discontent among the population. Another critical component of Argentina's strategy has been its focus on boosting exports, particularly in the agricultural sector. Argentina is one of the world's largest producers of soybeans, corn, and beef, and the government is relying heavily on these exports to generate the foreign currency needed to stabilize the peso and reduce the trade deficit. However, the success of this strategy is heavily dependent on global commodity prices, which are volatile and beyond Argentina's control. Moreover, the agricultural sector, while crucial, cannot single-handedly lift the entire economy, especially given the country's deep structural issues. Even though the Argentine Merval Index has such fluctuations in the one-year time chart to attract foreign investment, the government has also been promoting Argentina's vast natural resources, particularly its shale oil and gas reserves in the Vaca Muerta formation. This area is one of the largest shale reserves in the world, and its development is seen as a potential game changer for Argentina's economy. By attracting international energy companies to invest in these resources, the government hopes to generate significant revenue, create jobs, and reduce the country's dependence on volatile agricultural exports. However, the development of Vaca Muerta requires substantial upfront investment, and the current economic climate makes securing such investments challenging. Despite these efforts, the road to recovery remains uncertain. The combination of high inflation, a weakening currency, and deep social unrest creates a precarious environment that makes it difficult for the government to achieve the stability it seeks. While austerity measures may provide short-term fiscal relief, they also risk undermining long-term economic growth by reducing public investment in critical areas such as infrastructure, education, and healthcare. Moreover, the reliance on external support support from the IMF and other international lenders places Argentina in a vulnerable position. Continued borrowing increases the national debt, raising concerns about the country's ability to meet its financial obligations in the future. The risk of further defaults looms large, and with it, the potential for even greater economic turmoil. Let's take a brief look at the map of South America to understand Argentina's strategic position. With access to the Atlantic Ocean and key trade routes, Argentina has long been a major player in global agriculture. However, this location also means vulnerability to global market shifts and competition from neighboring countries like Brazil and Chile. As the map highlights, Argentina's borders with these nations shape its trade relationships and economic stability. So in terms of trade, it needs to work more than other neighboring countries. What are the underlying causes behind this economic turmoil? Argentina's current economic crisis is rooted in a complex mix of historical mismanagement, structural weaknesses, and external shocks. For decades, Argentina has struggled with economic instability, where short-lived booms are often followed by deep recessions. The country's history of financial mismanagement has created a cycle of recurring crises, with each government attempting to stabilize the economy, but often failing due to inconsistent policies and a lack of long-term vision. Inflation has been a persistent issue, driven largely by the government's reliance on printing money to cover budget deficits. This has led to rampant inflation, which erodes the value of the peso and diminishes the purchasing power of ordinary citizens. As a result, everyday life in Argentina has become a constant struggle, with the cost of basic goods skyrocketing and savings losing value rapidly. Another major factor is Argentina's heavy debt burden. The country has defaulted on its debt multiple times, most notably in 2001, which severely damaged its creditworthiness. Each default makes it more difficult and expensive for Argentina to borrow money in the future, trapping the country in a cycle of debt and financial instability. The current debt crisis is a continuation of this pattern, with Argentina struggling to meet its obligations while facing rising borrowing costs. Externally, Argentina's economy is heavily dependent on agricultural exports, particularly soybeans and beef. While these exports are crucial for generating foreign currency, they also make Argentina vulnerable to global commodity price fluctuations. A drop in global demand or prices can have a devastating impact on the economy, as seen in recent years. This over-reliance on a few key exports has prevented Argentina from diversifying its economy and building resilience against external shocks. Political instability has only compounded these economic issues. Frequent changes in government and abrupt policy shifts create uncertainty, making it difficult for businesses to plan for the future. Corruption and cronyism have further undermined economic stability, leading to the misallocation of resources and eroding public trust in the government. In Argentina, where political power can shift dramatically, long-term economic planning is often sacrificed for short-term political gains. Social factors such as high income inequality and unemployment have fueled unrest, making economic stability even more elusive. The gap between the wealthy and the poor has widened, creating a volatile social environment where protests and strikes are common. Government austerity measures intended to stabilize the economy have often had the opposite effect, deepening poverty and increasing social tensions. The global economic environment, particularly the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, has further strained Argentina's economy. The pandemic hit at a time when the economy was already vulnerable, leading to a sharp contraction in economic activity. Key industries such as tourism and manufacturing were severely impacted, resulting in widespread job losses and further declines in living standards. The pandemic also disrupted global supply chains, exacerbating existing economic challenges and pushing Argentina deeper into crisis. In summary, Argentina's economic turmoil is the result of a combination of historical mismanagement, structural weaknesses, and external shocks. The path to recovery will require significant reforms, including fiscal discipline, structural changes to diversify the economy, and efforts to restore public trust in government institutions. However, without bold and decisive action, Argentina risks remaining in a cycle of crisis and recovery, unable to break free from the patterns of the past. Argentina's economic future is at a critical juncture, where the choices made today will determine whether the nation can break free from its cycle of crises. While the challenges are significant, there are paths forward that could lead to recovery and long-term stability. Controlling inflation is paramount. Argentina has long struggled with high inflation, which erodes purchasing power and undermines confidence in the peso. To address this, the government must adopt a disciplined monetary policy that avoids excessive money printing and restores the credibility of the central bank. Without control controlling inflation, any other economic efforts will likely falter. Debt management is another crucial aspect. Argentina's history of defaults has made borrowing costly and difficult. To regain the trust of international investors, the government must commit to meeting its debt obligations while also renegotiating more sustainable terms. This delicate balancing act will require continued cooperation with the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and other creditors, as well as careful economic planning. Diversification of the economy is essential for reducing Argentina's reliance on volatile agricultural exports. The country has significant potential in sectors like energy, particularly in the Vaca Muerta shale oil and gas reserves. By attracting foreign investment and developing these resources, Argentina could generate new revenue streams and create jobs, which are critical for long-term economic health. Political stability will also play a key role in Argentina's future. Frequent government changes and policy shifts have created uncertainty, discouraging long-term investment. A stable political environment with consistent economic policies is necessary to foster growth. Tackling corruption and ensuring transparent governance will be crucial steps in building public trust and attracting investment. Social stability cannot be overlooked. Argentina's high levels of inequality and unemployment have led to social unrest, which complicates economic reform efforts. The government must find a balance between fiscal discipline and social protection, ensuring that the most vulnerable are supported. Investing in education, healthcare, and job creation will not only improve living standards, but also enhance the country's economic resilience. In summary, Argentina's economic future can be salvaged, but it will require focused efforts across multiple areas. Controlling inflation, managing debt, diversifying the economy, and ensuring political and social stability are all critical components of a successful recovery strategy. The road ahead is challenging, but with determined leadership and a commitment to reform, Argentina has the potential to overcome its current difficulties and build a more prosperous future. Our rating for this country is 4 out of 10, because it is a country that struggles with inflation. At the same time, there is still hope that if it takes the right steps, this country can raise itself to 7 or maybe 8 out of 10. If this exploration of Argentina's economic challenges has resonated with you, we ask you to continue the journey with us. There is so much more to discover about the forces shaping economies around the world. Your perspective matters, and we'd love to hear what you think in the comments. If you haven't subscribed yet, we strongly encourage you to do so because your interest is the reason you've watched this far. Together, we can better understand the complexities of our world. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.